Hey everybody. So look, I'm back for another episode review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Before I start, let me just go ahead and let y'all know. Thank you for those of you who have subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to like and subscribe. But why this video is late, okay? I moved. I moved, okay, on Friday. The movers came to get my stuff on Thursday. They told me it'd be here by Monday. I spent from maybe about 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock trying to get in touch with the moving company to figure out where my stuff was, what the ETA was, because I didn't want to leave. And then they show up and they're like, oh, we're an hour or 30 minutes away. Because it's not like, things can't happen in the city. They tell me, oh, we made a mistake. Your stuff won't be here till Friday between the window of 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. You talking about somebody pissed the fuck off? Because let me tell you something. I've been sleeping in a sleeping bag, okay? I'm not happy. My back hurts, okay? And I could, yes, go down to my family in Pennsylvania. It's supposed to, rain, though, tomorrow. And my neighbor said she had some extra comforters or whatever that I could use for, some cushioning. It's just, but the point is none of this should be necessary. So my whole thing with this being late was I was like, oh, okay, when my burner gets here, then I can do a comfortable video. Y'all, this is just gonna be what it is. It's just gonna be what it is. But that's not what y'all didn't come here to hear about how bad my I'm mad. Anyway, so we pick up as Stormy going off on Marceau, asking for the $100, which he rightfully deserved. Okay, Stormy said, okay, if I give you the $100, you just make sure in time for the event that you give it away to somebody in the community. And she was like, I'm participating in this because I was excited to do something about the community. All right, fine, for the Blaque Expo, whatever. So Stormy is telling them how she has a multi-million-dollar deal that she could be working on, and she stepped out without any makeup or anything. And did y'all catch Marceau's shade when Marceau goes, oh, so you feel some kind of way about I hate to laugh, but I don't like Stormy at all. And she was looking real basic, and she was saying that, and it was almost like Marcel was going, "Yeah, maybe you should have taken some extra time." Anyway, I know that's mean, but oh well. Okay, because I'm sleeping on the wood floor because my stuff's somewhere where I don't know on a truck. Anyway, so Stormy asked Marceau, well, did you get the sponsorship you wanted? And he said no. She said, oh, I see why you need it then. Marceau, first of all, is full of shit. Let's be in there, okay? And then he wanted it, they didn't think this out. Y'all wanted to make money. You wanted a sponsorship that you weren't even thinking about until Mel brought it up. So this is also the problem, right? A lot of the stuff that they're even doing is based on the fact that Mel even mentioned it. This was not the original thought. Anyway, so it switches over to Mel in the car with her brother Marcus. She has a performance in Boston, which is cool. It's better than I thought, because remember, I was like, if it was LA or New York, she would have told us. But Boston, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. So Mel and her brother are going to the Blaque Expo. She said so she could tell Tisha congratulations. She may not be participating, but she'll, support her or whatever. Okay, fine. So her brother asked her basically the game plan, how they plan to interact with Martell being there. And Mel is so mean. I will ignore the fuck out of somebody. If I don't like you, if I don't fuck with you, after you've done something to me, I have no problem ignoring you. That is my default. I am not one to get loud in public. Anybody that even tries to get me out of character like that, I leave. And I will not talk to you as a friend again. That is just a rule of living. And the person who learned it the hard way was my freshman year roommate. But she said she learned. She was like, I had no idea that you really meant that you don't do stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I don't do that in public. You want to have a beef, you come and talk to me in private. Anyway, so I know how I have perfected that art. Okay, so I understand. Especially when there are other people who don't understand how to act in public. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from a situation, especially when you in your 30s. Marceau and Tisha. So they're in the confessional, and they said they liked the way things turned out, and they said everybody but one person paid their fee. Basically about Stormy. Marceau said that. Okay, I wonder, are people lying because they're on TV in the confessional, or do they actually think this turned out well? Like, are you that detached from what's going? I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. All right. So, stop. Just stop. Don't try to pump it up anymore. So Martell is talking to another business owner. We see Martell in his tight ass suit, as usual, so that he can try to help his brother get his foot in the door of entrepreneurship. Now, normally under different circumstances, I would say, see, that's great. I'm glad that he's helping his brother. And I don't think the gesture is bad, but I think he can take some of that advice for himself. Because we have yet to see Martell, all these M names, Martell successful now that he is not with Mel. Period. All right, so Mel shows up in this bad periwinkle coat. Maurice asked Martell, how come he didn't bring his wine? And he said, nah, like I just want to give somebody else a chance. You know, I don't want to say that I've, done enough with the wine, but I've had like 4 or 5 events. And Maurice is like, and I'm sitting there even like, it's a business expo. It's where you take your product to get more people to buy it. To say you did enough isn't like, it's not like working on a project at school and then turning it in. Like, we're talking about something that you want to keep a steady stream of revenue for. Why wouldn't you do that? Like, Marceau has no business acumen. And then Maurice was like, yeah, it's clear that when him and Mel were together, there was a clear division of duty. Because Mel is a marketing genius and Marceau can't even get his thing together for an expo. Facts. Okay? So Mel is going around looking at people's businesses and stuff, and was like, oh, I'm gonna buy something. But Mel be on that fake tip sometimes. And this is one of the times. So she sees Tisha's hair products, and she goes, oh, the babies, they look so beautiful. She's not gonna say nothing bad about the kids or whatever. But the rep asks, oh, have you tried her hair products? And she goes, no, I actually didn't know they had any. And you hear that little noise that reality show noise, like, yeah. I said, I can't. So Mel's brother, Marcus and Martell run into each other, which was gonna happen. It's Huntsville, and it's this expo in this, like, I don't know, gym space, but it looked like a church outside, didn't it? Okay, but anyway, so he asked them what they can do to make things better. So Martell said, well, with 3 years of separation, motherfucker, first of all, let me address your vocabulary. It's a divorce. It's a divorce. Okay? So that already lets me know that you are deluded in a special way. All right? So she should and he was like, well, she should let some of her walls down after 3 years, and hopefully she'll do that. And with, your support, and he goes, with what support? Like, I know you don't think I'm about to support you. And he was like, for Mel. He hurried up and clean that up. Martell, you so full of it. First of all, as usual, Martell did not mention one single thing he could do, okay, to improve his relationship with Mel so they can co-parent. He literally put it all on Mel again. Like, I'm so tired of him. I really do think he's mentally ill, because to not be able to ever seem to really take accountability, I'm not saying I'm taking accountability, because we know people say I'm doing, like, he never does it. Like, he never does it. And he cannot be that far detached from reality. If he is, he really needs, like, medication and some serious therapy, like both. He can't, like, he needs it bad. All right? So anyway, so it ends with a sneer, basically, because Marcus had this kind of like whatever look on his face. And a handshake with Marcus. Martell is cussing Marcus out in the confessional. But my thing is, you ain't say this shit to his face, though. How come you don't say it to his face, Martell? You bad? You a bitch. That's why. So Montez, who's Martell's brother, can we please just get a cast where y'all just have the alphabet is a little bit more diverse? Anyway, so Martell's brother, comes to the expo because of his advice. And Martell has that Ray J thing going on. Like, you remember Ray J, like those first few seasons of Love and Hip Hop? He wanted to talk about how he made Kim Kardashian the star. He talked about, there was somebody else he was supposed to be supporting. I forget the singer, the light-skinned girl or whatever. He was like, I can make her a star. But the thing is, like, even though Ray J, has businesses and it's gotten, fame, he's still like this lame ass that's just in the public eye. And that's the way Martell is. Like, he can be associated with things that are successful, but he's not. Like, I can't get with it. So So, I still remember the first two seasons where he acted like he was putting on Mel, saying I took you out of the classroom, which I personally didn't appreciate. And I made your life better, this, that, and the other. But we don't see how you can make your own life better. So what's happening? Kimmy shows up late because she has radiation. My mom starts radiation next week. And she was like, it just takes a lot out of you. It makes you really tired. And I just, prayers up for Kimmy. Prayers up for my mother. She says she's glad she brought it to TV though, because there's a lot of women that need to know. And that's true. A lot of people are afraid of finding out, but the longer you wait, the worse it gets. So Montez runs up on Mel. I mean, not run up, but he comes up to her or whatever. And she introduces him to Marcus for the first time, her brother. And I guess because he was in and out of jail, he said, so he had never met her brother or whatever. But he said to Mel, look, y'all got to do it for the kids. And you know how my brother is. She said, and you know too. And he was like, well, I know you too. She was like, and, like, don't pull it. But Mel started crying and said it was really good to see him. And they have her in a confessional, and she said she remembers encouraging him, and he just kept running into trouble. And I think after not seeing somebody for a really long time, and when she got ready to introduce him to Marcus, she goes, I want to say my ex-brother-in-law, but this is still my brother-in-law. People can still have those familial relationships. And, she just started crying, and she was like, it's just really good to see you. And I think those kind of things can affect you, because I think just not seeing somebody that you loved and that was part of your family for a long time can be emotional anyway. And then you see him and all this has happened with the marriage. I'm sure there was a lot of feelings, because even when I saw Mel on the front row of the panel, she just still looked like whatever that interaction was, she was still feeling the feelings. But good for her, and good for him. So then we get Stormy. Stormy is yelling at Courtney over the phone, telling him that it's impossible, they ran out of labels. She said there were more than enough labels. They must have mislabeled stuff, this, that, and the other. Then she said she's starting to regret being at the Blaque Expo because of this. However, Stormy, that was a choice. The only way to really be able to give good business advice is to ensure that your business is taken care of. And you should have made that a priority. A multi-million-dollar business deal, and they called you at the last minute to participate because the girl you hating on didn't want to be in it. You're bad. Sorry, you're bad. You should have seen through that. All right? And even when she was like, it was more than enough. And I was like, you know what? That's not specific enough for me. That sounded like she didn't know the number of labels that there were. And a real business person who's on top of it, like she claims to be, would know those numbers. And that made me think you looked at them and decided, oh yeah, there's plenty here. We'll be good. I'm going to go. No, you showed up at the Blaque Expo because you wanted camera time. And they weren't going to follow your multi-million-dollar deal. Okay? That y'all clearly screwed up. And people will be returning products. I would never buy anything from her just because I don't like her. I don't even like the way she looks. Like, her look doesn't sell for me. Like, if Tisha starts selling skin products, honestly, I take a look at it because her skin is always glowing. Like, when we see Mel do fashion and stuff, yeah, well, it's believable. Why? Because she always looks fashionable. Like, you got to sell yourself, and it's not doing it for me. All right, so Stormy's confessional look like a Halloween costume. Like when you buy something on Halloween day, even after like the long lines on October 30th, and that was all, and it's just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a wig here, some glitter there left, and then you decided, okay, I'll make myself a Supreme, but a Supreme, like if we were doing an 80s show, even though the Supremes weren't the Supremes in the 1980s. Not Diana Ross, just a Supreme. Like, what the hell? Like, girl, bye. So then we get Stormy and Tiffany. They are two messy bitches. They are a duo I do not want to see on reality TV. And honestly, I'm not even looking forward to September in these episodes. That's just where I am with the show. But anyway, so Stormy starts talking to Tiffany about the faux pas with her business, like the mislabeling. And then she says, Marceau just asked me. Then Tiffany jumps in and goes, well, Marceau just asked me to speak. Tiffany, no, he didn't. That was a dig. When he says, oh, you're not going to speak? That he was making a joke because nobody knows what you do. Okay, I don't care what you try to tell us, this, that, and the other. You have not been clear, and he was not inviting you. But as usual, you managed to take something. You were either too stupid to notice, or you were just willing to spin it in a way that is just not favorable to Marceau or anybody, because you never have anything nice to say. Like, it's ridiculous. We all knew this situation was going to be half-assed anyway. And you damn sure didn't need to make it a quarter-ass anyway. So Maurice asked Martell about Sheree. They have got to be the messiest group of people. They just bring up shit. And they bring up, like, women shit. Like, shit women do. So he said, well, she's visiting a friend out there. And he did one of these. And I was like, he said, well, she hasn't been picking up the phone. So Marceau and Maurice are like, well, it's in a different time zone. Yeah. So Alabama's about 2 hours behind California. Us on the East Coast for 3 hours. Okay. And Marceau was like, well, it's a Wednesday. You know, they're probably at church, because, you know, everybody has Bible study and usually choir rehearsal on Wednesdays. And I know that if they still do that in Georgia, they darn sure still do it in Alabama. It's just that day of the week, you know. So all the stupid faces and implications that came from Martell, not from Marceau and Maurice, who were just being messy and nosy and not talking about somebody they know. You're supposed to know her, Martell. And Martell, it shows that you haven't grown up in the slightest. Of course, the implication is she must be sleeping with another guy, because that's what I do when I'm not picking up my phone and I'm not available to the person I'm supposed to be dating or married to. Okay? What was your mother doing, Martell? What was she doing? I really want to know. As you grew up, that you assume that about woman after woman with no proof. That just must be what women are doing. Because your insecurities come from somewhere. And they're disgusting and they're demeaning. And Sheree didn't deserve that. Now, I don't know why Sheree was messing with your ass in the first place, but there was no reason for that. Because that didn't come from Marceau and Maurice. That came from you. You initiated that. Anyway, so Martell asked why Mel is in the audience. He's behind the stage, and you can see their shadows. You know they always fight in the comeback five. Anyway, so he says he's not going on stage, and, you know, Mel is out there. And I'm like, that side chick must be really mad that Mel got this kind of hold on him. And they're like, why? You agreed to it. Then Marceau's in a confessional. He was like, Martell changed his mind at the last time. That's on brand for him. So why are you so nervous about Mel, Martell? After you spent 2 seasons bragging about how you took her out the classroom, you should be ready to show her what you think you are. Oh yeah, you ain't shit. That's what it is. And you've been failing perpetually. I can't with him. Anyway, how are you going to be an entrepreneur and not do public speaking? Say you're not good at public speaking. Introverts. I'm one. I do public speaking constantly 9 months out of the year, because that's what teaching involves. It is not something that I like to do. To be up in an audience of like 20 kids who are always looking for you to be wrong, trying to rip you up and everything else. It's not fun. But if it's what you do, it's what you do. So yes, what I do then becomes this. When I go home, I do this. Martell, he is so insecure, it's unbelievable. I just can't. So to come back 5, do a panel and give advice that nobody can use. That's why I don't fuck with these sort of business expos or these like seminars where people tell you, oh yeah, you can make $100,000 in 3 months. That's always a scam. Like, work takes work. Like, success takes work. It just is. So they were given very vague and general advice, not things that are specific. And that's what people come to those sort of things for. So was it me, or did Mel look like she still wanted to cry when she was sitting on the front row? I think seeing Martell's brother Montez really affected her. I don't know. Maybe I was the only one that noticed that, but she really looked like she was still feeling the feels. So Martell basically decides he's going to be the mic man for the Q&A. All right. So somebody asked Marceau about venture capitalism, and he starts talking about, oh, well, I thought that was more in tech. And he couldn't answer the question. They essentially, all of them, given these, Marceau just tripping over his words, they demonstrated why they needed a person like Mel to be on stage. And they knew why they needed Mel to be on stage, because typically she'd probably rush in, clean up their failures to pull it together because she doesn't want to look bad. And Mel said, nope, I got y'all's game. Do it on your own. Anyway, and then Tiffany was like, this girl, she knows about venture capitalism. Well, anybody can know basic definitions from economics. I know about venture capitalism. Don't make me a venture capitalist. Anyway, so Stormy is at home with her ugly husband. Both of them look like, you know what they look like? They look like those trolls that people used to sell in the store. Remember, we would like, I don't know if y'all collected them, but I would have ones with like green hair and then like a jewel in the belly button, the purple hair, and then like a star in the belly button, and then like the orange hair, and then like a moon in the button. Like that's what they look. They look like those little trolls that they would sell at like KB Toys and Toys R Us, and we would collect them, and you could get them in different sizes. Like that's exactly what they look like. I finally figured it out. So anyway, she starts telling Courtney about Marceau and how he approached her at the event, which was out of order, period. But Courtney was like, was he for real? Like, almost like, was he joking? Like, was he like serious about $100? Like who, and even in the convention was like $100. And for an event like that, I can see how somebody could go, $100, what's that to anybody? And certainly not to like Stormy and them. Now to an average person like me, you say to me it's only $100, anyway, because it's still my money. Okay. So Courtney started to talk to Stormy though. He switched the subject. But Stormy was basically leading up to are you gonna say something to him about it? She wanted him to get in Marceau's face about it. That's clearly what it is, and that's what's gonna happen in September, like we care. Anyway, so he switches the conversation, and Courtney started to talk to Stormy about why he doesn't want to extend their family. And he was like, you were in a lot of pain. And she was like, really? And maybe, if you have like painkillers, you don't remember everything. He was like, the doctor was picking up blood and like dumping it. He was like, and dumping it into a well. He was like, just taking buckets. You were bleeding that bad. He was like, and I just don't want to see you go through that again. I'm trying to explain. I felt like he indicated that though at the beginning of the season. Like that first, 14 episodes ago. Like he didn't go into this much detail, but I remember him saying that she was in a lot of pain. And he said, and honestly, I just don't want anybody else to have my baby. And he said, but I'll consider it. I'm going to be honest. I understand that. And I understand people think the politically correct thing to say is, hey, if you can't have a baby through a normal way, like giving birth through your wife or whatever, fine. But I can totally understand how somebody can love somebody, be married to them, you consummate your marriage, y'all still have a child. And no, I don't think, particularly when you're in a marriage, I don't think it's easy for a man to say, oh yeah, this other woman who's carrying our child, and try to work through those emotions. Because the thing is, there are things that happen when you have a baby and you have an emotional bond with someone that you can have and aren't supposed to have with the surrogate, but it's still your child. You see what I mean? Like, so I can understand why somebody is hesitant for that, and that's not for everybody. And I'm not judging him for feeling that way, and I think it's good that he was honest about it. So Courtney said, if we're going to do it at all, the only option is a surrogate. You can't get pregnant on it. And I think, yes, for the sake of her life. You know what I mean? Like, yes. So she was like, I didn't know you were a traumatized girl. Y'all never had that conversation before? But okay, I'm going to leave it there. So Tiffany, Kimmy, Stormy, and Tisha meet up at a Mexican restaurant. Is it just me, or every time they get tequila at any kind of Mexican scene, they really start revving it up, like when Destiny and Kimmy got into it the last time? Mel had Taco Tuesday at her house. They don't do well with that. Anyway, so Tiffany plans to, congratulate Tisha when she gets there. This is in her confessional, and give her some constructive criticism. Tiffany, you are such a bitch. It's not a good look. It's old. I don't think you're cute at all. I think you're built like Grimace at McDonald's. Like, I don't like it at all. And then for you to be pregnant and still be acting like that, do you really need, never mind. Whew, not gonna say anything. So anyway, so Tisha sits down for 6 seconds and she was like, well, I really felt like the Whitlows were left out. I have something to contribute for business or whatever. And before Tisha even said it, I was like, Tiffany, what business are you a part of? Last time we heard, didn't she get fired from the Chambers of Commerce? in, in Huntsville, but okay. So she said, I should have received a formal invitation. Y'all told me about it a day before, whatever, whatever. They thought she was bedridden. They didn't want to bother her. Let's not act like, in Marceau and Tisha's defense, it's not like they're the most organized people, okay? That's not the defense. But the actual defense, in my opinion, is that she left her baby shower going to the emergency room. Like, I do think it's right to kind of go, maybe we shouldn't. And if she wants to come, we'll just, give her an invite so she doesn't feel left out, but not, trying to pressure somebody. So Tiffany, get over it, is what I'm saying. So Tisha said, I don't even know what you do. And honestly, neither did I. So Stormy jumps in and said, well, y'all just raised $3 million. And Tisha was like, that's good to know. If Tisha doesn't know, and she's a part of the cast, I don't know, when I've been watching this show, you haven't been doing a good job of telling us. And raise $3 million for what? Stormy, finish the sentence or stay out of it. But no, Stormy can't help herself. So she jumps in. And Tiffany, I'm done with you. Tisha was like, I can't tell you, Stormy, how to react, but I did want to tell you, because she said, basically, I can't tell you how to react because I don't know how Marceau approached you. But she was like, I did have a problem with the way you reacted. Then Tisha, you are essentially implying how she should have acted. So, all right. Because she was like, it's a business setting and you were getting loud and this, that, and the other. And Stormy is ghetto. She is hood. She is hood. I don't care. She could tell me she's a business owner over and over again, and she will always come off as that ghetto country rat. I'm sorry. And yes, it was a business setting. So both of y'all had points. Both of y'all were wrong. And then both of y'all had points where y'all were right about. But, and I'm not really here for nobody like that. Now, Stormy had every reason to be mad about that $100. She had every reason to be mad about it. But you showed up to that restaurant with that same ghetto hood energy. Like, Stormy and Tisha are going back and forth, and Stormy's just making it worse, picking it, and Tisha was like, you better do last night, old Tisha, jump on the table. So jump on it. So jump on it. What you gonna do? Tisha, we know you ain't gonna jump on no tables. All right. But nevertheless, Stormy, you have a serious petty beef with most of the cast. And I want people just to get rid of her, because her and Tiffany as a duo is not gonna work for me. That's gonna become impossible to watch, like the way Basketball Wives became impossible to watch by season 3 and 4. Okay? So now apparently we're at half the season. We still have another half of the season. I do not understand how Love and Marriage Huntsville divides the seasons. They're about as bad as WeTV. But anyway, that's all I have for y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon. Hopefully I'll have some furniture next time I'm talking to y'all. All right, bye.